All right. Well, we're here with the live leak. I've been trying to get Mark on here to go live about what happened earlier here, but he's not available. Doesn't really want the publicity or to really talk about this. He says, we're just focused on like real work here. And whoever called, he thinks it was someone inside our group. Um, I'm not sure who it was. I don't know. It seems like very specific information. Apparently, like we had some we have a Geiger counter for our lab just to test if there's anything radioactive going on. So we, as a safety precaution. And we had a piece of uranium that we keep in a lead pig, a little small piece that you could order from Jeff Bezos, Lord Bezos on Amazon.com if you want right now, and use to test your Geiger counter. And if you get your Geiger counters um, tested, you'll know you can calibrate them and know that they work. Sorry, there's a little buzz in the background. It's a little distracting. There's no audio on the video here. I sent Mark some cameras that have audio on them, and we should be setting them up um, in the lab soon. I don't know when they'll get there, but yeah, this is them, and then they left. A very brief interaction. Mark said that there was an older gentleman there, and they were asking about uh, uranium, which is kind of weird. Um, we don't do really much with radioactive stuff or nuclear stuff at the lab. It's if anything nuclear, it's known more nuclear than what goes on inside of your hospital or in a nuclear magnetic resonance imaging machine, which is just called an MRI machine. They've dropped the nuclear because it gets people who don't know anything suspicious and looking into stuff or calling up the authorities and making reports so that they have to waste time coming out and looking into stuff, which they really should know better. I don't know. Maybe they didn't know better and they have to come out and just confirm. But it's just weird that, the FBI is out here investigating Mark's lab down in New Jersey. And I don't want to reveal too much about the personal information, so I won't tell too much about the investigations that we've done into this guy. But it seems like they're interested in he has some kind of background in money laundering investigations, which is weird. If they're looking for money laundering investigations, I don't mean to be a total snitch, but there's lots of people who are making, tons of money off of the whole UFO phenomena. Wait a minute, that's the wrong screen. Let me just window. There we go. Boom. Yeah, there's lots of people claiming that they're, having a huge rental space to build and develop UFOs in, and taking in millions of dollars, more money than we've spent in the last 5 years, as far as I know. Five, on in total on research, and we've produced, so much more. Um, you look at these guys, TTSA, right? Remember when they came out in 2017? It was like October 2017, and Tom DeLonge was talking about this thing here. Remember that? Anyone recall? You can go back and look at this original video clip and see all that. Um, these guys came out and took in a bunch of money for well, what they were promising us was, disclosure of a, you know, that they had cracked the alien technology, and Tom DeLonge and his band of heroes was going to be the ones to, bring it out for all of us to see, and they were going to disclose it all with this band of insiders, and that Chris Mellon had been tasked with the force of tasked with the goal of going through the government and coming out to figure out where they hid this stuff, and that they were going to bring the truth out to us. Remember that? I guess there's some kind of SEC investigation into those guys. But what's going on with the FBI? We protect the American people and uphold the U.S. Constitution, and for a majority, you do. There's some bad guys out there that you guys got a YouTube channel. You're doing specials, doing your own podcast now, and yeah, really, really getting to the bottom of you know some bad guys and investigations. But it's just weird. Certain things are never investigated, or they're just too big to investigate, or some people are just too big to investigate. And there's some weird things going on with some of the heads of the FBI for the last couple of years that I believe should be investigated. Louis Free and his connections to Bandar Bush, who funded the 9/11 hijackers, and what the hell's going on in that mess, and why he handed off the agency to Robert Mueller just before 9/11. And Robert Mueller has been known for all these other cover-ups and stuff too. It's just those two need to be thoroughly investigated, as does Hunter Biden's laptop, which apparently the FBI lost. Well, luckily someone had a backup of all the data that was on it, and it got leaked to the dark web, and some of it got out for a while and was being posted around. But it can get kind of flagged and shot down if you post that material now. And plus, it's kind of lost its sting at this point in the news cycle, even though it would be news to most people in the mainstream. And then we have NASA, trusted government cover-up expert since its formation in 1958, and we've tasked them with being the almighty truth of what's going on with this UFO subject. Meanwhile, Josh, it's Saturday, but maybe next week we'll give you a call, a lot, and ask you if you've looked at any of the material that we've sent you, and if it's weighed in on any of your conclusions about this whole secret space business. Because we've done a lot of research into a lot of different technologies that go way back. I mean, they're building electric airplanes using Biefeld-Brown kind of effect, similar effects, ion wind effects, 1913, and you know, satellites that look like UFOs that go back to the 60s, you know, balloons, DRFM technology from this 40s. This patent goes back to CIA Project Palladium. We got the sphere, the cube inside of a sphere. I mean, we've solved a lot of this stuff and sourced it back to the scientists and the programs where it came from. Why this information is not on Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar and Jeremy Corbell is anyone's guess. But yeah, there's a ton of hoaxers in the past, which I understand why the FBI might be investigating financial fraud. This guy's like Otis Carr in the 1950s, this scammer who had this sport model flying saucer that he said, worked on these gyroscopes that would flip around on the inside. And, lots of people have tried this gyroscopic propulsion idea, burned it out. Boeing did probably the best and most thorough research on it. And it really helped with the stabilization and navigation of satellites, because you can move a satellite with a strong enough gyroscope in it. You can move a satellite in orbit by a couple hundred feet. So it can miss a piece of space debris or something else if you can just adjust the gyroscope in it, which takes very little energy and effort, but can affect its trajectory greatly. So the gyroscopic stuff is good for a lot of stuff. That was Mike Gamble's research with the gyros and the gimbals for Boeing. But out of just so much research that's been done, and that we're trying to continue in our labs, and in associated labs all around. We kind of started this group called the APEC group, right? The APEC conference. If you go to altpropulsion.com, you can find the website, right? Tons of scientists that we've gotten to come out, authors of books, and people that are experts in this kind of stuff. We've gotten to come out of the woodwork. We had a whole day on people from the country of India, who have investigated Vimana or UFOs in India, and have we have people from all over the world that have come forward, because this is world changing technology potentially. And maybe the FBI is there to try to make sure it doesn't get out, or keep a wrap on it, and say that we're trying to give it to their enemies or something. And this goes beyond all that, because this is puts an end to all wars if we're able to come out with real anti-gravity or free energy technology. And so we've come up with a sort of vetting service for a lot of these things. And when claims come out, we investigate them and try to vet them. And we've got a lot of people working on a lot of different projects. Bob Greenier is working on that Malcolm Bendall stuff. Bendall has not agreed to come on and present or put up to scrutiny yet, which is a telltale sign for a lot of these guys. When people don't, when we hold a conference like this specifically for these types of things, and people don't present, that's more of a red flag than the people who are presenting stuff, because often we have a lot of real scientists and engineers who can strike down a lot of the disinformation or scam artists and stuff. And there's quite a few of them. And there's even people that are good researchers that put out great books years ago that we had on, that have come on and turned into complete flat earther denouncers of science altogether, which is another sad end of this stuff too. So yeah, we should get some of these scientists on just individually for interviews, man. Tom Vallone would be a great conversation, man. That would be awesome. I really got to get like a producer who can set all these things up for me, and figure out a good get me on a good schedule to do these kinds of interviews, because that would be awesome. We need more of that content put out there. And these guys like Tom Vallone, they've been doing this for 20 years, so they've seen all the scam artists, they've seen all the shenanigans, they've seen the what happened with PES Wiki and the Alan Sterlings and the all those guys that have been and come around the gamut of free energy enterprises, and the Bedini motors and all that stuff. So this is a great opportunity. And if that stuff's real, we'll hope to expose it. And if it's fake, we also hope to expose it, man, because that we don't want to see anyone getting scammed out of money by internet scam artists, running scams. So in reality, the FBI is not going to find anything. This is probably just some jealous hater who called in a false, some kind of easily, oh, I just heard a rumor, and who knows what they could have heard somebody talking about something they didn't understand. Yeah, we're talking about,
Or could have been anti-Semitism by the FBI, huh?
yes, well, they could be. Mark is Jewish, after all. He also went to Israel recently. So it might be that has attracted their attention. That's a good possibility, too. Thank you, Bernie. Bernie, for chiming in on that. I didn't realize
I didn't know if I was allowed to talk about it when I found out last night before our science stream, and then I saw you talking about it now, so I had to hop in and bring light to that.
Wow.
And Speaking of FBI agents, though, I have Walter Bosley lined up for an interview in 4 hours' time if you're
Ooh.
able to make it tonight.
Ooh, man, I wish well, we're just gonna keep it going then for 4 hours. All right, let's just do it, man. Marathon fucking sat weekend, right? Let's do it.
All
Um,
right. Okay. That's
uh,
awesome. I got you on board for that. I'm just on my way to finish up a landscaping job for a couple hours of work, and then I will get back in touch and we'll do the Walter Bosley stream and keep doing the awesome work you're doing, my friend. And I was worried that you might not want to do the Walter Bosley show with the whole FBI thing and them visiting Mark, but hopefully we can get some
well,
answers.
Mark doesn't want to do it, man. He's kind of like freaked out by the whole situation, which I understand, man. I wasn't there in person, but no, I get to look at it from outside and just kind of like until they come visit me at our lab on Monday, right? I told you the Hover Brothers. We launched Hover Brothers in response to TTSA back in like 2018, 2019. And I ended up getting the FBI called on us, and they reached out on the phone anyway. They didn't come visit me in person, but they called me on the phone anyway. But that was the last time I've had any kind of contact, or if anyone I know that's had any kind of contact with the FBI. And I've just gone around UFO Twitter and asked a number of the other people on there if they've ever, any recent video, anyone getting visited by the FBI.
Well, I think it'll be good to ask Walter tonight because he was a former FBI investigator, so he'll at least have a little bit of an inside rationale of possibilities of why they did or would come, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, certainly the report of unsafely stored uranium would be a concern, but you can buy these very weak pellets of you know uranium on to test your Geiger counter, and you know maybe it was the thallium that we bought from United Nuclear from Bob Lazar.
Uh,
Maybe they think I'm gonna poison my wife.
Pull a Bob Lazar, right? It's
That's it.
John. I don't even want to get into the politics. Anyways, I will see you in a few hours. I got to get to work, and
Yeah.
awesome stuff, my friends.
Nice. You can buy thermite right on there. Look at that. Awesome. Where can I buy the element 115? Did I just like even just a fake make believe, copper triangle of it? Damn it. Useless crap. Well, anyways, we're gonna start coming out with a store too. It'll be great. No, the stream's not over, dude. Why don't you jump on and keep it going? Anyone else have problems with the FBI? Come tell your story. Let's go. Got a whole bunch of people that chimed in and says, "Hey, I'm trying to get the FBI to investigate this for friggin' years and to no avail. Why are they investigating Mark? Why are they investigating, people trying to figure out anti-gravity? Huh?" Yeah, well, I don't unfortunately have any more information really about this. I wish let me think if I covered everything in this little talk here about what happened, because Mark was there, I wasn't, but Mark just told me that one of the guys was, saying that they had just went around the lab during the week with a Geiger counter to look for, how much radiation's coming out of the lab and didn't find anything. So they closed their investigation. That we don't have enough uranium to be setting off a Geiger counter outside the lab, and therefore it's not worth investigating for the FBI, according to them. But they were still interested in what we're doing here and the whole UAP subject, or so, according to Mark, is what they said, and that they were going to come back on Monday and and try to um, get more information, which I don't know what the heck that means. If and a lot of people have said, Mark, don't talk to the FBI without a lawyer. Don't talk to any police without a lawyer present. Um, they could just take anything you say as like you're lying to the police and then charge you with crimes just from that. And but yeah, we're just we're already on a list, dude. We're all on a list. You know, don't worry. If you ain't fighting now, then if you ain't on a list by now, then you ain't gonna change nothing in the world. And you should be ashamed of yourself if you're not on a list by now, because you know, we're really people are doing good things and get on lists, and people who uh you know uh let's see yeah, let's think of some examples, right? Oh, people who run islands with Prince Andrews and Bill Clinton, right? These guys, they can't name their co-defendants and they don't get investigated and nothing happens to those people. But, you know, we can pursue all kinds of other stuff and waste, tax dollars on those kinds of investigations. Um, looking into Bob Lazar's element 115, or maybe his thallium that people are poisoning people with. I don't know. But there's a whole bunch of just nonsense. It's just nonsense what the FBI is doing. I think it's just crazy. I don't remember. That was Hillary's go-to. Yes, yes. I don't remember. She's a lawyer. Learn from the best, dude. They've gotten away with murder, right? According to my homie UFO Shane, his friggin' uncle and all that. I gotta get UFO Shane on the podcast, dude. Anyways, yeah, the whole story of Amy Eskridge. Well, that was Mark's girlfriend. Mark dated Amy for a while, man. He flew out to Huntsville, Alabama. She came out here. She came out to the lab in New Jersey, and then they got like attacked with some energy weapon. Mark said while they were here. I don't know if like she seemed like she believed in some weird, crazy stuff, and I don't know if she made Mark believe in something, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it, and I don't see any. There wasn't any direct evidence of it that I could see. So I don't know what the heck happened with that. But yeah, she's a strange character, that Amy Eskridge fellow, and her dad apparently was into plasma anti-gravity research for the NASA and all this stuff. Yeah, it's a weird. She was, we met her. We first met her. I was like, oh, this is awesome, man. We got a source inside NASA in Huntsville, and like she's sharing all this crazy information with us about, Ning Lee, and that her, dad knew, Douglas Torr and all those guys, and they worked with them in this, and all that stuff. And then she was, I don't know, man. Amy's is just a strange character, dude. I don't know what was up with Amy. But yeah, she always talked about herself time traveling back from the future and coming back here to change stuff in the life here, which was weird. And so I have an interview that I did with her, but I don't think I'll ever release it publicly. I don't want to. Anyways, um, it's better that I didn't. I don't. Because there's nothing in there that's like of any interest. We were always telling her, she's like always saying that, oh, my dad was into all this research and I could break disclosure and I'm gonna be the one. And then I'm gonna travel back from the future once this is all unlocked, and you have to believe that time travel is real and that it's possible. And she kept trying to convince me of it and all this stuff. Um But I don't believe in time travel, man. Stephen Hawking debunked all that back in the 90s. But anyways, yeah, it was kind of crazy. If Amy could time travel back, man, I wish she could come back and change all this. It would be yeah. I'm like, who else liked John von Neumann, one of my favorite scientists. One of my favorite scientists. Maybe one of my favorite. I don't know. He was a freaking master, but he was famous for liking funny and strange hats. He had a giant collection of crazy and strange, funny hats. Um, Funny fact about Neumann. So I also like hats. Man, it was some weird stuff. A Taurus of Time, DARPA. Oh yeah, DARPA's here. I hope they're learning stuff from our channel and the people that we're, interviewing. The stuff that they probably already know. They're just not happy. A lot of people can learn about it now. They're in the public. Yeah, they're watching. Yeah, a lot of these pages changed, man. A lot of these things been going down. They've been taking note of a lot of this information and scrubbing it hard, man. It's the reason I'm not, that they're putting certain stuff out on the big podcasts. And I don't know if they're trying to warn us or about getting this out or what. FBI doesn't want the public to know much more about this, so it's already too late, man. You guys fucked up. You need to just take down the ex-heads of the FBI, starting with Louis Freeh, moving to Robert Mueller, and really going after the corruption within the FBI. Whoever in the FBI is responsible for killing John P. O'Neill of the FBI. FBI whistleblower Ted Gunderson talked about a lot of the corruption and things and where they started in the FBI. So, yeah, definitely, if anyone in the FBI wants to blow the whistle and or knows of information that's critical, definitely, definitely put that out there. I know some people like, yeah, the FBI can be relied on too. I had a friend call me up and thinks that there's a bunch of people going to kill him and assassinate him, and he's part of a conspiracy. And I told him, you should call up the FBI and report that. And he said, what if they're in on it and you can't trust them? And it's like, well, that's why you send it to several different field offices and make sure you talk with a bunch of different people make sure a bunch of different people get the report. So they all have to be in on it at that point, and that makes the conspiracy much harder within the FBI. Doesn't make it impossible, and sometimes you don't even need a conspiracy, you just need bureaucracy. And inside of a bureau, there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of times, as was illustrated in the X-Files by the cigarette smoking man, right? But yeah, the Federal Bureau has a long and dark history that it needs to shape up in the eye. This is not looking good for the FBI, that they're investigating Falcon Space instead of investigating all the things and all the people that they should be investigating. David Wilcox and freaking TTSA, Jeremy Corbell. Aren't they investigating this guy? He sold flares, he sold Boca triangles, he sold drones, he sold all kinds of fake UFO bullshit, made way more money than we've made, put none of it towards real research or any kind of education for the community whatsoever. And you know, why don't you guys, you're trying to build a case against Mark, against these people? Like, get, like, seriously? I don't get it, man. This is, yeah, look what they've done. Yeah, it's just crazy, dude. Yeah, TTSA was going to build a UFO. Remember, let's go back. let's just we're just gonna go way back. I want to present this. Let's see, where's the yeah, yeah. Let's go back. Where's the part where he says
Take the biggest secret in the most controversial secret on Earth and surround it with three groundbreaking strategies that will innovate, educate, and hopefully wildly entertain at the same time. It's called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. And we did this truthfully, as hard as it may be for you to really understand, to define a future and not be victim to one. And that was the service that I offered. And that's also why I received a ticket to meet some very invisible, but also very important people. Now, if there's a subject that could potentially change the world, how would one approach it? Especially if the subject contained earth changing technology, the need to understand a coming tidal wave of information, and what my partners and I call again the story of the millennia. Again, a technology, a need to learn more, and a hell of some stories to tell. Our institution looks to build a perpetual funding machine that can continuously attack those three things: aerospace, science, and entertainment. Again, some important stories to tell, a need to learn more, and a plan to engineer the technology observed. This is why I am here. This is why they are here. We're going to bring it to the world. And we're going to show you today how we aim to achieve this. We have a plan to bring the unimaginable, the stuff of dreams, to the world. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science aims to communicate historic events and forward thinking ideas through motion picture and includes you on ongoing scientific discovery and build an exotic craft with an energy source that can revolutionize the world. And I would like you to help us push humanity over an invisible boundary that seems to confine us, forcing us to make the same mistakes over and over again. And now let me introduce you to our team. And how are we going to achieve this impossible thing? So first, my two co-founders. Jim Simivan, a career spy, former senior intelligence service in the CIA's Directorate of Operations, a strategist with the ability to help To the Stars Academy navigate all the many sensitivities involved, either with government or with others who may eventually want what we have. Dr. Hal Puthoff is a theoretical physicist and program director for numerous CIA and Department of Defense classified programs. Dr. Puthoff is the creator of the CIA's own revolutionary psychic spy program, still used to this day, and his breakthrough science dealing with the engineering of space-time is crucial to potentially understanding the technology observed. Leading our aerospace division, Steve Justice, literally last month, Steve finished his career as Director of Advanced Systems at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. And to this day, Skunk Works is the US government's top tier aerospace organization for the development of advanced aircraft that meet our urgent national security needs. He will explain to you how this technology can revolutionize the world. Lou Elizondo literally finished his career at the Department of Defense as Senior Intelligence Officer in the Office of the Secretary of Defense days ago, and now he is on the stage with us. He served as Director for the National Program Special Management Staff. Forgive me, these titles are very long. And he is going to architect some partnerships with some very sensitive places to help protect us, to help protect the technology that we are going to be building, so we together can achieve the extraordinary. Chris Mellon, chairman of the To the Stars Academy National Security Policy and Scientific Advisory Board, has a long career at the DoD as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Minority Staff Director of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Chris actually was involved in reviewing many of our nation's most sensitive activities over the course of his career. I actually met him on a cold call one day, and he turned out to be an incredible strategist, our main conduit to Washington, D.C., and a very cherished friend. Be sure to share this broadcast because everyone's going to want to hear what he has to say. Chris?
Thanks very much. I'm thrilled to be here and to be part of this team.
Oh, there we go. Anyways, this is crazy, man. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna build you a spaceship. Send us some money. Look, it's gonna look just like this #1 birthday party balloon that you can go to any party supply store, you know, and buy for. You could buy 10 of them for that $200 stock price that you pay for the TTSA stock over here. You could buy yourself at least 10 of these babies at Party City and launch a whole bunch of them suckers off, and you'll be able to freak your friends out, get a bunch of cameras on there and let them go. You can tell them all that UFOs are all taken off, and you caught a bunch of them on camera. Yes, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. That's awesome. Again, we hold open mics for APEC once a month, and we hold an APEC conference once a month. Right? So people want to find real information and get linked up. And if you got a real paper, a real project, a real presentation you can put together, come present on APEC, and there's tons of investors and other people watching that they can link you up with funding and get your projects underway. And it's all an open source community. So, no one is in control of anything or linking up anything. It's just, people linking up with people and trying to get that all out there. And we would love to invite, anyone with any kind of controversial scientific claim that needs to be proven out in a good format. This is the place to do that if they're legit and willing and brave enough to do that. So we won't get into all the people that haven't and that we've reached out to on requests and stuff, but yes, they can go right to altpropulsion.com and join the community for disclosure. Because if you have, the best way to tell a lot of these hoaxers is to say, well, is there academic papers? Is there any kind of experiment on this kind of stuff, testing it? And normally there's lots of experiments testing different things, or you should not look for a disproof, but look for a proof rather of the person making the claim. So if, they say, hey, we got this thing, it's called, it uses directed energy to, dustify steel. Well, show me a video of you doing that. That would be really awesome. Nope. In any case, well,
Don't have to take my word for it or even that of the Navy officer who described these events in an article you can find on the web by searching on Nimitz UFOs 2004. There I was. Better yet, the US government itself can verify the events involving the USS Nimitz on November 14th, 2004. So the key to revealing whether or not they're advanced vehicles with capabilities far beyond anything made in America is now in the hands of the press and the public. The chairman of the Armed Services Committee and his counterparts on other congressional oversight committees can easily request a briefing to confirm the veracity of this story and the existence of other events of a similar nature. Congress has every right to review the documents generated by this event and request briefings by the military personnel involved. If the oversight committees have not already been briefed on this event and others like it, should be.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's good for rehashing. A lot of people haven't seen this, dude. There's people who follow my channel that aren't even aware of all this because they're just not into the UFO scene. So it's good to show them and to rehash this as history. Especially these FBI agents, they probably spent the last 5 years doing anything but this, so they're new to this. So if they got some corrupt leader at the FBI telling them they got to, take out the guys who are exposing the frauds, exposing these people, then, they need to know what's really going on with all this. So that it's a bunch of nonsense. In any case, yeah, Chris Mellon, man, and that whole nonsense.
I would say the hardest.
What the hell? In any case, yeah, these guys, David Wilcox and Corey Good, they were on Jenny McCarthy's show and all these other big podcasts, getting tons of views for total disinformation. So you can check those guys out right here. Let's watch that video. I want to watch this. I want to share the audio too, so people can see.
Is going to roll out and what we're actually doing. Go ahead and roll the clip. Hey, this is David Wilcock, and I am here in our undisclosed location, which is codenamed Snapper. And this is the future, folks. This is where we're going to be prototyping your hover car that we would like to have ready for commercial development at an affordable price in the not too distant future, hopefully within 4 years, and a working prototype within 1 year. As you can see, I was not lying to you when I said that this is all happening. This is a obviously real facility with a cement reinforced roof, and it's a very nice hangar. It's got a lot of space and a lot of cool things we can do here. Hello! And here it's got some incredible echo. So we are very excited about how this is moving forward, and we will be hoping to sell you hover cars very soon.
Yeah, huh? Well, there you go. There's David Wilcox hoping to sell you hover cars. We've never ever promised anything of the sort to people. We're just doing gravity research and investigating, Alzaphon, which was there was a 1980s Boeing study into the Alzaphon effect. Lots of aerospace companies and private aerospace and also government agencies and scientists have done classified and very little known obscure research into anti-gravity and different ways of producing it, and we're just about investigating and exposing those with real science and educating our audience on experimental physics and also science in the process. So I don't know what's going on with the echo. I'm the only, maybe it's the, I gotta mute the screen audio so that doesn't do it. Maybe that's it. In any case, yeah, that's David Wilcox for you. And well, there you have it. I mean, these guys are doing much less, much closer things to financial fraud than anyone in our group has done. So at least I hope. I don't know. I can't speak. I can speak for myself and the people that I know. But I don't think Mark's done anything like that. He's been plugging right away. I mean, doing legit, trying out all kinds of stuff. 3 years later, still working on Alzaphon. Different materials, just all about trying the different materials and then trying different wave schemes and other stuff too, based on what people are telling. Dude, Paul got just, you watch his interview on there, man. It was just bad, man. Like his book, Secrets to Anti-Gravity Propulsion, was awesome, but dude, he just totally, he bombed harder than anyone on APEC. Right. Anyways, yeah, these guys, you know what's going on with it. It's just a dang shame. Go check out falconspace.org again. Monday we might have an update for you from the lab and let you know what's going on with these FBI agents and what kind of questions they're asking and what they're after. Apparently they're interested in UAP and you know, technology and stuff. So if they want to learn, they've come to the right place. So yeah, we're just, again, it's just reverse engineering. We're just trying to go on what we find and anything that's brought to us and investigate it. And we're not making anyone promises. And you know, it's all about research and development and education and furthering the cause of the understanding. If we're ever going to get to the point where we can build UFOs and spaceships and get to space, man, these are going to be the kinds of groups that are going to make that possible. And it's always going to be the Wright brothers and not the, you know, more funded. It's not always the best funded team that makes the breakthrough, right? And anyways, yeah, it was an old replay, man. That was an old video from 2018. So, all right, man. We got an $10 super chat. David Wilcock and Gory Good are con artists. They made a fortune duping people about giant blue chicken aliens. Even the Cousins brothers from Third Phase of the Moon called them liars. Yeah, that's pretty serious if those guys call you a liar. I agree. Yeah, they scammed Kung Fu. They scammed your mom. That's terrible, man. And there's a lot of people that are victims of scam artists here, you know, and I sympathize with those people deeply, man. I've been a victim of scam artists myself. I've gotten scammed out of a lot of things. So appreciate everyone out there in the audience and you know what everyone's doing to come together on this subject and really, you know, expose a lot of the scam artists together. I appreciate all that, the help and the support, people, and I hope that in the future we can bring more scammers on to expose them. And yeah, this is the YouTubers who saved physics, man. It really is going to be. And you know, one guy was this. You know, I had a guy asking me today about this too, interviewing me, and he's like, "Oh, have you guys published a lot of papers and stuff?" And sometimes stuff gets published in the papers. You know, we get new ideas we're working on some papers right now and getting and papers that have come out of stuff that's come from APEC and stuff. But what we're really doing is redefining, you know, the way that science is done in so many ways, because as the LK99 experiment showed, that it would be really helpful if, in addition to having a paper, those guys had a video. Like, so in experimental physics, it should be like, well, not just where's your paper, but where's your video? Because it would be awesome if we could just see their lab, we could just pause it and be like, oh, so they're using this brand of power supply, this brand oscilloscope, and this type of oven with this type of setup, and this is their procedure. And you could get 1,000 words of information relayed to you in just pausing the picture and looking at one image, versus, you know, sitting there and having to read through pages and pages of technical information to get all that kind of data that has to be written out in long form when you know, an expert scientist can just look at a lab and be like, okay, boom. So in the future, it's really going to be all videos. And you know, one of the examples I gave of good scientists who've just abandoned the paper writing process lately and have just been completely going full video, right? Stephen Wolfram, right? Stephen Wolfram and Jonathan Garrard and these guys. Well, Jonathan Garrard's written a couple papers and stuff, right? He'll slow down every once in a while, right? But these guys are going so full steam ahead the past couple of years, man. They've just live streamed everything. And in Stephen Wolfram's opinion, he's like, oh, I don't need to write papers anymore. It's all recorded on YouTube and the live streams, you know? So what's the point of publishing papers anymore? It's already published in a live stream on here, you know, and eventually you can go back and pick out all that stuff and really reorganize it. And he's got massive books. I mean, the books that he writes are incredible. The thickness and depth of the information in these of what he had to go through to create some of this these networks and the branchial spaces but yeah, this is great stuff. I wish I could. This is a whole different level of intelligence from the TTSA video we played, right? Maybe I'll share this in the.
Between different branches of the multi-way system. You're saying the hypergraphs on these branches of the multi-way system are distinct, but they differ at a level that's so small that to the observer, they are the same. So the observer is imposing some equivalences. And you can actualize those equivalences.
So there's a whole bunch of complicated language going on there that I would love to sit there and dive into. Yeah, they kind of do overcomplicate some things. One of the great emails that was going back and forth, Jose Rodal had a couple things to say about this. Let me just read that comment real quick because it was real great the way he described it. He said that Wolfram delved deep into this topic in his publications. While he has a book on his theory, it's worth noting that some of the more recent developments, especially those about path integrals, are not covered in that edition. So it's covered in later copies, but not the first. He bought it when it first came out. So it's better to read his papers. In Wolfram's theory, he mentions recovering Einstein's equations from a path integral. He's referring to using the mathematics of path integrals over the evolving states of a hypergraph in what he terms branchial space. But this is not the traditional path integral you encounter in standard quantum mechanics. Instead, it's a novel construction that emerges from the dynamics of Wolfram's hypergraphs. So in this framework, the separation between nodes of the hypergraph is on the order of the Planck length. This is significant as it ties into the very fabric of space-time at its most fundamental level. This is source code, people. This is the Wolfram thing is source code. Once you can understand it, this is how we're going to have to program our warp drives and our quantum computers to
If you consider
hack the source code, my friends. But again, that's all coming much later. We're going to turn it off and yeah, sorry about the volume there. I had to cut it off because it was echoing and then I turn it back on. It's just really hard to do with damn it. Yeah, no sound. Damn it. Crap. Sorry about that. I was playing and I was trying to I missed it. You guys can go watch the video here. I'll post it if you guys are interested in the Wolfram stuff and listening to what you missed while I had the audio not working. Sorry about that, but there it is. Oh, Steven, he got me into this back in 2001 with Disclosure Project, but unfortunately, talked to a lot of like not good scientists, and he didn't have a good scientific, just compass. So he got kind of misled by the Orion Project, and that's another one, the Orion Project, right? So Stephen Greer started this thing called the Orion Project, and he claims they raised over $1 million for free energy research, and then what happened? Then what happened to that? So we have evidence of $1 million. That's more money than we've spent in the last 5 years on put out tons of anti-gravity research and videos and stuff. So what did they do with that $1 million that they raised, supposedly for research into technologies and the Orion Project, which was going to expose free energy and anti-gravity technology? That's what Stephen Greer used to claim, is he was going to expose free energy and anti-gravity technology. And well, whatever happened with that, man? So that's my beef with Stephen Greer. Other than that, I like Stephen Greer. I think that he's he tried to get some information out, man, but there's too many disinfo agents, and it's like anytime they know that real info is going to come out, they subvert it, and they put in tons of disinfo. So you never know. People don't know what to believe, because it's just, then they put the disinfo on first. The Grush thing, again, 40 whistleblowers versus 4,000 whistleblowers. Who are these people? I would love to get more information. We've disclosed a ton on this channel, but I don't know what these guys have disclosed and why they get a seat in front of Congress to talk about stuff that they can only discuss in a skiff. This is all real science, and it should be discussed in every classroom in America, not and you shouldn't have to worry about going into a skiff. I think it's like it gives this people this dumbed down in interpretation of intelligence that oh, we just have to go to inside of a skiff. Real intelligence takes a lot of time and homework and studying to like really learn and be good at and do. It's just something you could just put out there, and it's so obscure that most people wouldn't even know what they're looking at or have the brain to understand it, or think to dive into that. A lot of people would think it's like pseudoscience or something else, because it's just that's how real classification and stuff works. What is that? Greer's illegal government facilities and the clock being set. Well, there's a ton of facilities we've covered on this channel. We talked about where the materials went after Roswell to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, who then had those progress report contracts with Battelle to do the progress report. Let me find those. Let's see if I can't find that. Yeah, here it is. All right, I'm gonna bring it up right now. So here's the second
a
progress.
very sort of toy model of this, much as the Minkowski norm is a toy model of how the act.
There we go. Sorry about that. This is the document from 1949, and this was a progress report for Battelle, commissioned by Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Here it is. And in this report, the scientists who wrote this, where's the article here? So they do a study at evaluation and experimental of titanium base alloys, binary titanium, germanium, titanium nickel, titanium silver, beryllium, zirconium, columbium, tantalum, and other alloys, right? So it's interesting. They spend 3 pages of the report on nickel alloys. So that's the germanium, and then the nickel. They have 3 pages on, which is more than any of the other metals. So they focused on nickel, even though they said, "Oh, we're just going to explore all these titanium alloys." That they focused on nickel titanium alloys. Okay, so nickel titanium alloys were what nitinol is made out of. In fact, they have the phase diagram right here, which kind of gives exactly this B beta phase is right where you need that percentage. This is what you need to make nitinol. It's right here. The formula was figured out right here in 1949 by Battelle, analyzing what one of the scientists who wrote this report, John Elroy Center, would later testify that he was given alien technology and told how to analyze it and come up with ways to analyze it and methods for analyzing it. Right? This guy who wrote this report testified to this later on, which is crazy. So Battelle is definitely one of the contractors where it would have gone. They manage all of our national labs. So they could have easily hidden science and technology from the public. They made the demon core, the plutonium cores for the Manhattan Project. So they did classified metal work. And they would have been the perfect organization for where the UFO file is kept. Of course, they're never talked about. I brought this up to Senator Gillibrand when I went to Washington, D.C. to the Senate UFO hearing and talked to Senator Kirkpatrick and Gillibrand, try to share this information. And I sent a lot of this stuff into them in a separate email, but they never returned it. Got back to me, which is interesting. This is the apparatus they built to they would measure the off gases of this material to figure out the sample of it, so that they have this indestructible pieces of, they don't know what it is. They want to figure out what it is. This alien material, this alien memory foil they got from the Roswell crash, they wanted to figure out what it was. So they dissolve it in, according to this one, refractories for melting titanium. So they developed a whole arc welding process for melting titanium in this report too, which is interesting. And the alloys of greatest interest, which they summarize in there. But the interesting one, trying to find the one about the carbon tetrachloride method. Was it? Yeah. No, it's not there. Come on, it's got to be towards the end then. But they have this method where they basically dissolve it in chlorine and then measure the off gases. And that's apparently how they were able to figure out that the stuff was some kind of weird nickel titanium alloy. So they could reproduce the nickel titanium alloy, but it was just a memory metal wire. And I don't think they ever got the kind of deep mechanical phase structures that these things may have been programmed with. Yeah, so EJ Center, this is the guy that wrote this is the report, and John Elroy John Center is the guy who later testified that he was given alien debris. And they had to come up with this chemical analysis method for the chlorine carbon tetrachloride method. So, yeah, it's chlorine carbon tetrachloride. But, yeah, very interesting stuff. And this was the Battelle Memorial Institute, if you look at this this report. Okay. And they manage all of our national labs. So You want to hide alien technology in a private, nonprofit institution that's completely untouchable by FOIA requests. There you have it. Okay. Completely untouchable. You can file all the FOIA requests you want against Battelle Memorial Institute, and they don't have to give you a goddamn thing, because they're a quasi-governmental organization. They have the powers and the abilities of government organization, but none of the oversights or regulations that you'd find from a normal government institute. So yeah, this is where I believe the UFO file has been held, or at least was held until the 1950s. Around that time, 1958, 59, this is when NASA was created. This is when nitinol wire was officially discovered at Naval Ordnance Labs. That's what the Ni, nickel, Ti, titanium, NOL, Naval Ordnance Labs. That's what nitinol stands for. And but all the information to make nitinol and analysis of nitinol wire, or whatever this memory material that was recovered from Roswell, is right in that report. Which was that German technology or Nazi technology? Who knows? But we know we have the testimony of this guy John Center, who says he thinks it was alien technology. And that's the best evidence that I have for aliens, as far as I'm concerned. It's they've created a black hole similar to what they had to create to keep Manhattan Project secrets, with Battelle Memorial Institute handling all the metallurgy for the plutonium cores and the refineries and stuff for what went into that. So they obviously have the infrastructure already built and set up since before World War II. And that's where I believe the UFO file went into and stayed ever since. I think, yeah, sometime around the 50s is when they created NASA, and they also started Area 51, right? So Area 51 begins right around that same time. They create a secret base for testing, and there's allegations that a lot of stuff moved there because of security reasons in the 1950s, in the 1960s, late 1950s, early 1960s. So has it been there ever since under EG&G? Who knows? But yeah, there's several contractors that are super interesting, right? You get into that EG&G, a big one, right? EG&G started in World War II, right? Manhattan Project, EG&G developed the cameras, which would high-speed cameras, which they used to photograph the atomic bomb explosions, right? They developed high-speed photography. So the first, remember, they were capturing bullet holes. They were shooting like cards and pieces of glass and apples and stuff with bullets with this high-speed camera back in the day, 40s and stuff. And then they got hired to use this footage to capture the atomic bomb detonation, so that they could use that information to make accurate measurements about the energy being released in the atomic blasts and all this other stuff. So EG&G ended up being a huge contractor for, out at Area 51. This is, of course, Janet Airlines, the flight airline that services for McLaren Airport to Area 51 from the Janet terminal. So yeah, EG&G was bought out actually right after 9/11 by the Carlyle Group, and it's now ACOM. It's now under a completely different, ownership and name. So yeah, it's super interesting that, like, right after 2001, June 2001, Stephen Greer comes out with Disclosure Project, start getting all these insiders to start coming out and leaking information potentially. So they put a big kibosh on that. And then, you know, some say that they use that as a whistleblower trap, that all those guys were, you know, most all those people may have been, you know, fakes, and a whistleblower trap to get people to come forward and then trap them. It's just crazy, everything that goes on, and what we try to like figure out years later, looking back at this stuff, because not everyone tells the truth in this game. But we do know that these organizations keep control of the technology, and that is always the prized secret, and that is always something that's never talked about really openly. And you know, it's what they don't discuss when they discuss this topic. They never discuss the technology, and that's important because they're hiding stuff. And the technology is everything in this game. As far as I'm concerned, we've learned so much in so little time. But did that technology come from aliens? There's some people that think so. I would love to learn more and find out. And I think that the government should be open with that, and it should come out. And if these FBI people are about finding the truth and doing real investigations, maybe this guy will use his retirement to help us instead of try to take us down. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, there was an invisible college. That was Bryce Dewitt and John Wheeler. Bryce and Cecil Dewitt, his wife, they were a husband and wife scientist team. Then the other scientist team was the father and son team, and that was Frank and Ed Witten, right? So they had the two teams in the 50s, and then the secret college meeting in 1957, right? 1957 Gravity Conference, or the Chapel Hill Conference, right? So they had the Chapel Hill Conference in early 57, and then there was another one, I think the same year that happened over in Europe with Penrose and a bunch of these other guys, and that was a little different. It wasn't the same things weren't discussed. So there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down with this stuff. And then that University of Chapel Hill professor, right, that was killed recently, man. There was a murder that Asian professor that got taken out. I did a video on that recently too. So yeah, really crazy stuff that has been going on, man. FBI, it can investigate us all they want, but no one did anything wrong, right? We're not like Hunter Biden out here smoking crack with hookers and weighing out crack on a scale and laundering tons of money through the Ukraine for getting connections to my dad, for people, for business connections, and getting payoffs and all that stuff. We're not doing that kind of crap, dude. That's not what we're about here, man. We're not about promising people spaceships and saying that we're going to jump right to, you know, building a spaceship without, you know, proving out any sort of technology or proof of concept on a gravity drive or anything like that first. You know, we got to prove the physics first. And if this is real, we're going to find it and we're going to prove it out. If it's not, then we're going to be sitting here in a couple more years from now saying, you know, hey, maybe we should I don't think we should ever stop giving up on this dream, because if we can crack gravity, that's like the holy grail of physics, man. I don't think it's a good idea to give up on your dreams, especially big ones like that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. We're an hour and 15 minutes, and I don't want to keep this thing going too long. I know a lot of people are going to be listening and checking this out. We have 268 people watching live. That's amazing. And I thank you guys for all for joining me. But yeah, have you guys you guys have saw the videos, right? Of the I played them right in the beginning, and yeah, it's just crazy what they've done to the truth about UFOs and UAPs. And the FBI, what the FBI is doing, man, this is crazy. We're doing legit research, bringing, this is all graduate studies. This is all published, legit, scientific stuff that you can dig your teeth into and sink your. This is meat and potatoes for people that really want to get into the science and the technology of, deeper physics. If you want to learn this stuff, there's tons of resources for that. So, guys, as always, this is your number one source for this stuff until someone else comes along and starts killing it, man. I'll happily give my channel to them. But yeah, the government killed physics with string theory, dude. Apparently, and they also killed cold fusion, back in the 80s. Really crazy that what MIT and Caltech did to, derail potentially disruptive technologies research. And there's a lot of people trying to do that. There will still be a lot of people trying to do that, making fake calls to the FBI to try to get us jammed up or hemmed up, or, that's just not right, dude. We're doing legit research. We're putting legit information and materials out there. I make all this sourceable. I post the link and, here. People can go check this out. I'll share this link right now. People can go get this presentation, right? Let's copy that link. I'll drop it right in the live chat. People can go get that presentation. That's my UFO summary report. I've posted this many times before. People can go look up the slides, get links to where I got the papers and the presentations and all that stuff from, right in the descriptions of that. And if you can't find anything, let me know. And that's how we learn. That's how we move forward in all this. So the truth's out there. You just you gotta keep digging for it, man. And this is only the start. And anyone who promises you the Holy Grail, doesn't have it. Because it's about the journey. It's not the destination, man. We'll figure this out together, man. You guys are the man. You the kids, the military soldiers and the scientists and the other people out there who come out of the woodwork to join this team and do the research and bring this where it is. You're the reason we're here. And it's crazy. Jared Yates was on Linda Moulton Howe's broadcast the other day talking about, and then she was talking about APEC. 36,000 people watched that since yesterday. So we out here. We're still out here. We're gonna be out here. We ain't going away. The invasion has arrived. And yeah, we're gonna keep it up with science and spaceships, because we all grew up as kids watching Star Trek and Star Wars, and we want a future with this stuff, man. We're not gonna give up on that easily, and we're gonna keep digging, and we're gonna keep exposing this. And if there's a lot of truth to this stuff, man, and it's being covered up. And with your help and you guys sharing this, liking it, commenting, it helps with the algorithm and help bring all this stuff out. More live music performances? You really think I should do that? Okay. Should I do one now? Maybe we'll bust it out here. All right, you guys ready? Uh-oh, hold on. Let me see if I can scroll, and I don't know if I can scroll the whole way and do this. Metamaterials, can these things work miracles? Perfectly spherical, like original trick cereal, growing brighter than that bowl. You can fill my hole and go and take your soul when you lose control. Do a rap about UFOs to try and expose things the government won't disclose, cause nobody knows where all that money goes, with no bid contracts and cash stacked in rows and rows. Frozen hose couldn't flow as slow as the drip drop disclosure from these government schmoes. I'm one of the pros, in case you didn't know. I read all the physics papers and get intel on the low. So while the Pentagon's acting like a bunch of bozos, the alien scientist channel grows and grows until they look like the emperor wearing no clothes, who can't smell that stench that's right under his nose. With the military-industrial complex, it's nonsense. Somebody must be getting the paycheck. It's obvious, oblivious, insidious. These idiots, they obfuscate. At least we all agree on this, from AOC to Matthew Gates, who stopped the debate and set aside their hate for alien technology. Come on and pass the plate, because maybe we won't evolve into a planet of the apes, because there's always something bigger than these dreams we try to chase. Like when Tom DeLonge came along with his bong and the strongest cron you ever heard of in a song called TTSA, but they strung us all along and promised us a spaceship but played us like a pawn. And Luis Elizondo, please correct me if I'm wrong, but he won't go on your podcast unless you stroke his, but he's a military hero, and these noobs who all know zero like to think he's their amigo, and they flock to him like Siegel, and they say yes master like Spiegel. Well, he gets snoopy like a beagle when he ran the Adams Project and took away some objects from a public that was honest and just wanted to make progress, and they get in front of Congress and say, where is all the proof? Well, Elizondo took it all and gave it to our troops. Oh, they got an army crater and the rest of us got poop. Anyways, you guys know the deal. Thank you guys for watching and have a good night.